Leo. It's Lynn from Tinker Tarot. I'm here to do your September tarot reading. I already meditated and dealt them and laid it all out to save time. And I've had kind of a look over of it and have, come up with kind of what I'm seeing going on here. So when I was shuffling, all these cards jumped out for you. First, these ones jumped out in a bunch. And you have the Temperance in reverse, Seven of Pentacles, the Knight of Swords in reverse, and then the Six of Pentacles. And so, it kind of feels up and down to you right now, like that roller coaster thing. I think that your kind of inner compass is out of whack right now. You're not sure, because you're a big person, Leo. You're a big person. And it's natural for you to ascend, but sometimes the ego can get in the way. And us fire signs have a problem with that sometimes. But you're wanting growth in your life right now at this time. You've invested yourself, your time, your energy in a lot of things and not really feel like you're seeing, the life that you should be having because of that. You're not seeing the growth around you in some way and you're wanting that, right? Um, that I think there may have been a lack of communication or misunderstanding, possibly with your friends or those around you. And so when you have the Knight of Swords in reverse, normally the Knight of Swords is like out there, like they're going and they're finding out and they're communicating, they're asking questions and they're helping and they're clarifying, right? They're trying to clarify. But in reverse, you're not. You're not seeking answers for clarity, you know what I mean, in a way. And it may, you're, or someone around you, this is kind of necessarily you, but it's this energy around that there's a lack of clarification, it seems to me. All right. And there's also a need for equal give and take. And this is in communication. If you want people to be honest with you, we indeed need to be honest and need to share honestly. Sort of thing like that. And so it's this also, you may be reluctant to ask for help, right? Or give it. I'm not sure which position you're in at this time. But at the same time, you're wanting growth, So you may be like you could have been resistant or to ask for help, but you're willing to give it in some way. But anyhow, we'll get back to that. The other card that jumped out kind of separately on its own is the Fool. And the Fool says that you're about to begin a brand new chapter of life. And I think you've kind of entered it going through these lessons right now. And in the Fool, we don't have a lot of experience in this area. It's new to us. It's new terrain, right? We're just exploring it and you're kind of excited and maybe willing to take a risk, or taking risks, more willing to take risk at this time. It just says be a little careful. Don't be too foolhardy. There also could be a situation where you perhaps feel like something was kept from you, something about an investment or something you put your time in or something of value, perhaps. and or a sharing of some sort that you didn't know about was kept from you. And so it kind of bothers you, I think, in a way. But I don't think it was sinister. Okay, I don't think it was sinister. I think that it could have been more protective, or perhaps they didn't want to offend, or maybe you don't want to offend someone, so you kept this information from them because you're like, well, I just don't want to offend them. You know what I mean? And I think that because of this Seven of Swords in reverse. Usually, this is someone trying to get away with something, sneaky behavior, but it's in reverse. And I just feel like this is not sinister behavior, and it could be within the family because then we have the Six of Cups, okay, and the Queen of Pentacles, which sometimes she represents mother, can be the earth mother in a way, grounding, resourceful, takes care of herself, maybe indulgent in some way. But anyway, you may have thought in the past that something was sinister or deceiving in a way, and I don't think it actually was, okay? So you're kind of wanting things to be the way they used to be, you know, a time when you had a lot of friends, you were always doing stuff, a time when your family was really close and you're always calling each other and visiting and planning things. All this sort of thing. You saw growth in your life and you're remembering that and, wanting that again. At the same time as there's this issue of communication, okay? Normally in the Page of Swords, we're practicing our communication. We're not very good at flattery. I'm not very good at saying, you look really nice, or, that's a great car, even though we have questions on how you got that car with no job, or, you know what I mean? Like there seems to be a bit of a cynical side, perhaps, in some sort of communication. Here we're practicing to get better, We're practicing in front of the mirror, perhaps. This is also when we send out letters, try to apply for things. We begin some sort of training of the mind, training our mind. However, it's in reverse. And so I wonder if you're going to stop talking to somebody, or that happened. You stopped talking to someone for a while. You saw a crack in the system, or the game board. Okay, if this makes any sense to you, in the game board. And people weren't playing by the rules, or not sticking according to the plan, or something like that. Or we're being open and honest, and like you felt like you were part of a team, part of it, like and suddenly you don't. And so there's some sort of loss of communication with someone in the family, a mother, grandmother. I'm feeling strong female presence here. So, yeah, so that could have been in the past. And kind of you have this idea of how you would really like it to be. And perhaps at one time it was like that. It was like awesome, and you always did this or that, or, had these little talks, or who knows. But when we grow, when we mature and evolve and our lives change, so does our relationships and our connections and stuff, and we have to go with the flow. Now it's a new relationship. Now we do this instead to accommodate for the fact that it's like this now. You know what I mean? Anyhow, so interesting, interesting, interesting. Fly, who are you? Would you get out of here, please? Bugging me. This fly's bugging me. In your present, you have the Justice in reverse, the High Priestess, the Queen of Swords in reverse, the Sun, and then the Tower in reverse. Okay? So, again, there's some sort of situation that you may feel is unfair. It could be legal, but I don't think so. I think it's could be within the family or friends or something like that. And I think that you're feeling it's unfair, or someone got the opportunity you didn't. Someone got a piece of pie you didn't. I don't know. And so this is a time to reflect. Like, it feels like you're doing a lot of reflection, a lot of thinking. I don't see the hermit here, but you're doing this anyway, especially right now during this full moon. You are reflecting, and it is a time for reflection right now. It's a time for healthy reflection and about seeing, other possible angles. Also, the trick, I want to go back to the Temperance here. Okay, the trick of the Temperance is living in the present. Okay, she doesn't live in the past and carry those, she carries the memories and everything she liked, but not the burdens. Okay, and she also doesn't live in the future in the thought of expectation, how it should be, how what I deserve kind of thing. She lives in the here and now. How is it now? And I'm going to make it what I want today, tomorrow, this week, And that's by not being overreacting. It's just keeping it calm, keeping it on par, on the horizon. Okay? Not going up, not going down. So it feels like you're a little out of balance here, Leo. Oh, this darn fly. I feel like it's a family member of yours actually bothering me right now, buzzing around, but it feels like you're out of balance here, okay? You may feel cheated, just something like that. Anyway, you need to reflect because you need to gain wisdom out of these situations instead of bitterness. And let go of this bitterness and gain wisdom in order to grow, because it's growth you want. It's growth you want. You want some sort of grounding in this. I don't think you want to feel like this. You want to be happy again. You want to be able to just like, oh, it's no big deal. Those people are very good to me. I don't have to worry about who they're helping now. They've helped me so much. And that sort of thing, like being able to not carry it as a punch against you kind of thing, okay? And you are going to be successful in this endeavor. This is a lesson that you're going through right now, a really good one. And look at that, you got the sun, Leo. This is you right here. You are going to start bridging those gaps. Creating the growth that you want. And you're going to be the shining example. Okay? So where you feel you're going to be honest. If you feel there's dishonesty, you're going to, you don't feel people are expressing themselves or being supportive enough, you're going to be supportive. You're for those people that you feel like disconnected with, you're going to reach out. Hi, how are you anyway? I haven't seen you. You look fantastic. Creating new growth. This is new growth. And you do, again, this is this disconnectedness here that you were feeling before. But some of it is in your own perception, okay? In your own perception, and in perhaps your own or theirs ego getting in the way. All right? So I really, really like this, I'm going to tell you. And I'll tell you why soon. But here you have the Tower, and it's in reverse, okay? So sometimes the Tower is a situation that comes along and it's very shocking and surprising, and it throws our life apart, okay? It throws, things are falling apart, all right? But this Tower helps bring things back together, okay? This is a healing, mending, forgiving, letting it go Tower. You know, don't sweat the small stuff Tower. I'm not going to make a mountain out of a molehill Tower. Okay? And so this is not letting things get out of hand, explode, overreacting. It's the opposite. It's creating stability and new foundation, I think. New foundation. All right. It's strong here in the Sun card as well. Also, you're kind of acting like a kid again. You know, you're kind of making people smile and, you know, just, I don't know, whatever. I don't know anything about that stuff, but how are you doing today? Kind of thing. You know what I mean? So in the future, near the end of the month, you have the Queen of Rods. So here you are, Leo. Twice in your own reading, shining like a diamond. You know, the Sun, you're represented here, and again in the Queen of Rods. There's those sunflowers again. Those sunflowers spreading. You know, sunflowers feed. They don't only provide beauty. They feed people, they feed insects, all kinds of things, you know, and so they create life. They, you know, it's part of a circle of life sort of thing, and it's a lot of growth here. One feeds the other, part of a chain. So, and the Queen is very creative, inventive, and she feels very confident in her abilities, okay? Very confident in her abilities. And this is wonderful for you to see. You make this whole you're going to turn the situation right around on its tail. You know, you realize here, okay? And you go from the Queen of Swords in reverse to the Queen of Rods, realizing what can I do within the situation? How can I make this work better for me, or change? I'm going to go this way now, sort of thing. Because what you're doing is exactly, you're looking at this situation differently. And there are two ways to look at this situation. I'm going to tell you right now. So one is to just sit in the house and stare at your broken cup and say, geez, all I got's a broken cup. This broken cup is broken. And you're not paying any attention to all these other cups. You know, you have 3 here, right, that are shining, golden, and full of emotion. And these are probably people in your life that want to spend time with you, want to do things with you, want to hear how you feel, you know, that sort of thing. But you or they, like, you know, you can reverse the roles here, stay in the house. You know, they watch their TV or they look at their phone and comment about being in relationship and blah, 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 blah. So if he would only just turn around and change his view, just needs to change his view about how he sees the situation. And there is a beautiful ultra golden cup here at the top of the arch, which still stands solid, by the way, this arch. On the other side of this arch, it's clear skies, the trees are blooming, and there's a lot of growth if you'd only turn around or step outside and see it. This is not unreachable. You know, you could climb up here. You could climb this tree and be up there and grab that cup that seems unreachable now, but is only out of reach in your mind in your way, or how you feel about yourself perhaps at the time, because you could feel like you're going through things alone, right? So, but you're ready to change that. You're ready to turn around. And I love how these two cards look together. You know, he's sitting there staring like, woe is me, and you know, I don't have a girlfriend or job or whatever the situation is. And if I, oh, and then someone says, well, if you turn around, look at, there's a job. There, she's very nice, or he's a really nice guy, da da la la la. And you do. And then all of a sudden, woohoo, totally different outlook. The sun's coming up. You're inspired and willing to do things that you weren't willing to do before. She's willing to cross over to a whole nother area. You know, not that you might change jobs, you might be willing to move, or you know, who knows what, but I feel like there's a sudden inspiration out of nowhere. You just say, you know what? They're right. She's right. Or I'm right. Right. Again, you may spend time in withdrawal, quiet withdrawal, thinking about your new plan, though. And this is planning, thinking about, what do I want to do exactly? You may spend a little time thinking about, I know I don't want to do this. I don't want to sit here anymore. I know that I don't want to live here anymore or do this job anymore. You know, you could be taking care of the sick or something like that. You could be in healthcare. You could have a family member, someone who's bringing you down, kind of keeping you, you know, in this way. But can't blame others, because we always have a choice. And this is 4 corners, it's 4. So this is choice time, right? And you're going to choose to change, to evolve, to get out of the cave. And you may decide to do something completely different at this time. So if you're a librarian, you might want to be a mechanic. If you're a mechanic, you might want to be a landscaper. I don't know, but you just need a change, or just maybe a change of people, faces, you know, experience in some way, somehow. And you may have been thinking about this, contemplating this for a while. But in the judgment, we realize we want the change. We're ready for the change, and you step into it. You're ready for the responsibility. It could have had something to do with this responsibility before, but at this point, you're ready to take that on, and it's kind of cool. There is an indication back here of caring too. You might be a caregiver, or this, you know, like instead of just the family situation. And then I clarified these cards for you. And you have the King of Cups, the Knight of Wands, and the Tower. This tower is upright this time, okay? Now, the King of Cups wants to connect, but is not connected. Likes to be in love, you know, likes relationship, and loves to be passionate, but only kind of has one foot in and 1 foot out, is feels so much more than what they're revealing. The King of Cups to me is a little secretive, I gotta say. This could be an actual person, Pisces, Cancer, Scorpio. And and they could be kind of secretive about their real feelings. They keep them secretive, and this might be you at this point doing this, okay? But in the Knight of Wands, all of a sudden you're revealing everything. Sometimes the Knight of Wands is represented by Sagittarius, and I don't know if you've met a Sagittarius, but they tell you everything. They're like, how you feel about that? And then all of a sudden, and also, and therefore, and so, this is feeling like I want to connect, really wanting to connect with people, feeling, the knight does things for the purpose of feeling good, okay? And creation, passion, this passion. And it's sometimes a passion about something. This could be, some sort of passionate relationship that you enter at this time. One person may not be, as or seem like they're really like connected, like they could be very loving, passionate, and fun and all that, but it's like, are they relationship material sort of thing? So, and then there is the Tower, and this could be someone you're already in a relationship with, friend, family, lover, whatever, right? You could be either one of those people, the King of Cups or the Knight of Wands. And so there is a Tower situation at hand. So, I feel like this is kind of, it's clarifying. There's a situation coming that could really upset things, okay, in a relationship, okay? Sometimes the Tower brings good change, a lot of good change. It breaks open something that was dark or mysterious or couldn't kind of be talked about. The elephant in the room sometimes, you know what I mean? And the Knight of Wands comes along and opens all that up. They could be opening you up. And at first, it could be scary. It's like, I don't really want to know if I want to talk about all this stuff. And the Knight of Wands is like, too late, I already told everybody already. And they think it's nothing. They think you're wonderful and beautiful. Are you crazy? And then you're like, really? Really? Like, this is a whole different, you didn't know. You never considered that because you've been, very sensitive or something like that for a time, right? So I think that there is a situation that at first you could react in perhaps a panic, or offended or overreact in a way, okay? But here's your other Tower. And this Tower isn't just energy that is clarifying or about the reading. This is in the reading. And this is in reverse. And this is another way we can look at. We can, have you ever looked back at something that fell apart in your life and then now, 5 years later, 10 years later, you're thinking, or sometimes a month later, 2 days later, you're thinking, the best thing that ever happened to me. Best thing that ever happened to me. I should have gave it up long ago. Long ago. or I should have looked at it in this way long ago. You're realizing, and it's okay because you do that now. You're doing that now. You're realizing you want to act differently, move differently, actually work in a different area, create something amazing. Maybe you'll start writing, singing, performing. Who knows? I don't know. But you are getting out there into the light. Into the light. Okay? This potential disaster, like the tower, like I said, I think is going to open a new door, a better door. It's going to create light in a dark situation. All right, it's bringing a lot of light in. The sun is right beside it, so this is a good thing. Although it could feel like, what really back here? And I think that like I said, I don't feel like there's anything sinister at all. I don't think that was the intention. Okay. um some people just have a hard time talking, communicating, asking, expressing, especially these days. We're really having a hard time connecting with each other. So okay, so your sacred oracle card you have is inspiration. And in this card, it really, you can see the beehive, you can see the bees flying around. They're a lot like the sunflower, and speaking of which, the bees rely on the sunflower to get their nutrition and the things they need to exist and create more life. So it says an idea has captured your attention or will very soon. It may be a grand vision or just, sort of a flirting idea. You're being encouraged to accept the vision and give it your creative and spiritual growth. It's part of it. And it is possible. You may not have faith in yourself or get approval or something at that time, or the support or something like that you believe, but it is possible. You are right. The bee is bringing you healing, medicine, wisdom from nature to aid the message of the oracle. The bee is a powerful spirit totem. You will attract great helpers to you, and the earth will support the success of this project. Your idea, even if it seems like big, might be difficult to get off the ground at first. Like a bee, they have the big body and these little tiny wings. So it might be a little difficult to get off the ground at first, but keep going, Allow inspiration to fill you with enthusiasm, and expect magic and marvelous synchronicity as people, situations, and opportunities fall into place and help bring your inspiration into reality. And that's the other thing about the tower in reverse. Instead of falling things out of place and everything, all the bricks go flying, that actually they come down and provide a new foundation. The idea has potential to flower into so much more than you realize. It can become something that feeds and nourishes others on their creative and personal healing paths too. It has the quality of a mission and is so much more than one singular idea. Wow. Also I want to pay attention that it's a 3, okay? And so usually 1 is the idea. And 2 is when we start talking about it or kind of bouncing off, or maybe the plan. And 3 is when we see, well, is this conceivable? Could we put it into action and maybe start to practice this particular idea? Okay. You also have a 3 in the Empress, which is about starting with one square, at the corner of the board and branching out, expansion. Okay. 7 of Pentacles, growth, expansion, putting in the time and energy. And sometimes it takes a little longer, a little patience, takes a while for the growth to happen, but it's coming. It will. Okay. Is there any good gold in here? You are a vehicle for inspiration. You are meant to think and do things differently. You are capable of receiving fresh ideas that are not so out there or different that they stop being practical, helpful, and wonderful. You're being asked to avoid the trap of doubting your ideas are special or interesting enough. To sum it up, this card indicates that sweet success, like abundant honey, is coming your way through your commitment, that's the hard work, and responsibility, and development of an idea that you have already had or will soon receive. See it through to the end. It says, believe. Haha, believe. Get it? So that is fantastic. And it might be something that you've been working on, putting some time and energy, because back here in the 7 of Pentacles, it looks like you've been putting a little time and energy or investment into something, and you may not have been talking about it, advertising it, that sort of thing. So, something like that. Anyway, I hope this reading helps you and this message helps you. And let me know. I'd love to hear. And take care. Bye now.